this is Matthew Hofmann with another episode of Do-It-Yourself Airstream. Today we're polishing, and we're going to talk about the final stage of polishing today, and that is using Nuvite Compound S with the Cyclo Model 5 polisher. This is the final magic shine finish where you take out all the swirls. You make it that mirror shine, that classic Airstream finish that you see the polished Airstream driving down the road, and you wonder how the heck did they accomplish that. So what we have here is an 18 by 18 inch square. We've been working on this square exclusively with the prior two stages, and that is grade F9 and grade C. And now we're on to grade S. Before we get there, I want to talk a little bit about polishing, what it actually is. Polishing compound is actually a very fine abrasive material that takes the metal and effectively smooths it out. People think that the polish is actually removing a bit of metal, but actually all you're doing is pushing metal around. At a microscopic level, this area here, if you got way down close to it, you'd see that it's a series of peaks and valleys where over time the oxidation exposure to elements has caused the aluminum to create this rough surface. So with polish, this Nuvite Nushine, basically all we're doing is we're taking the peaks and pushing the metal down into the valleys, and at that very microscopic level you could see that it gets a bit more flat, and the better of a job you do, the more flat you're able to make that surface. So now we're on to S. This is actually a bed sheet. I prefer nicely used bed sheets. Pick them up at a thrift store for a couple bucks a piece. Cut it down to, you know, a good size. This looks like about 4 foot by 2 foot. You can see that this pad has already been used. You can use these probably 30 times before you have to replace it. And when you replace it, you can generally just take it, throw it in the washer, and use it again. There's only so many times that you can use these because they're generally pretty thin and they'll wear through pretty quickly. But we're still good to go with this. So we'll take the grade S, much like before, where we had a 6-inch pattern over this 18-inch square of polish. You'll use the same general pattern, but you use a lot less polish. Grade S, these are 1 pound cans, by the way. Grade S for a whole trailer, you probably only need a half a pound. Whereas with F9, you'd probably need 1.5 pounds for maybe a 20-foot trailer. Grade C, you'd probably need 1 pound. So about a half pound would probably do for a whole trailer. Again, don't use a lot of polish because it'll make it a lot less effective if you have too much polish on the surface. Okay. So, I'm going to have to polish this fancy device into an outlet here. Okay, and just so you know what it looks like when turned on, it's a noisy machine. Yeah, but here we go. There's a lot of different techniques that you can use here. You can actually get some special bonnets that you put over these, and you can polish that way, but they're expensive and you're going to go through a lot of these bonnets. This is a foam pad which is adhered directly to this random orbital kind of pad there. And what we generally tend to do is take this cloth, find a section that has yet to be used, place it over the polisher, take up any excess material, wrap it up in your hands back here. There's a handle right there, so you kind of wrap everything up. So that's what it should look like when you're ready to polish. What you want to make sure you do is that take the polisher and stick it onto the surface. You actually have to make contact with the surface before you turn it on. Because if I turned the polisher on right now, you'd have the cloth spinning, it'd probably fall out of my hands, and you'd have to go buy a new polisher. Anyways, put it on the surface, turn it on. It's going to be loud and noisy, so you're not going to be able to hear me. But it's basically the same technique. You, instead of going so defined in your pattern, you want to go a bit more random. Okay, and there you have it. You can see that the polisher picked up all the polish that was on the surface. It's now transferred over to this rag. And this is the final product. You can see me in the reflection. This surface, you can see down here, is what we started with. And I don't know, how long did this take? Maybe all said and done, this section probably took about 20 minutes. It's going to take a lot of time to polish a trailer, but in the end, it not only turns heads, it's great. It's just stunning. There's nothing quite like a polished aluminum trailer. It's an investment, and you're going to have to keep it up. There's a couple different schools of thought. What do you do when you finish a polished trailer? Do you put clear coat over it like they did when they came out of the factory in the beginning, or do you leave it? I could argue both ways. I like the idea of leaving a trailer finished in its raw, natural state, because then you're able to upkeep on the polish. I equate it a lot to like you would wax your car over a weekend to keep the finish up. You'll do the same. You pick a weekend out of a year and you do the last maybe 1 or 2 stages depending on where you live and how much it's been exposed, if you store it indoors or outdoors. Whatever it is, get yourself the tools, learn how to do it, and you'll enjoy a well-polished trailer for years to come.